ready to get right into our floating Buddha, our number 3 sequence. We're going to start with our Sumo always, putting the swing behind our back, underneath the arms. We hug the swing, outside in. Always hug the swing, and that way we know we got a good hook there. We press it down strongly with our forearms, and we're going to lean back. Woo! Go ahead and come into your forearm press and slide into the front of the mat. We always use the shape of the mat to inform the pose. So let's heel toe wide to 10 and 2. This is our Sumo. This is our access to all the other poses. We want to come back to our Sumo. And if somebody's uncomfortable with any of the other poses, you can just bring them back to this pose. Regrounding someone if they're feeling a little woozy or dizzy, this is the pose to go to. And then we're going to hug, right? A lot of people do this and reach for the leg loop, but we're going to hug the swing in all the poses, outside in. Grab for the leg loop. This is how we're going to use our core strengthening. We're going to pick up our knee and then get the ankle hooked. So my knee goes out to the side. It's a little bit of a karate chop move. We're going to get that leg loop on, extend the leg, and then second side, hug the swing, pull down, pick up the knee, hook the ankle, floating Buddha. Okay? If we ever need to give the upper body a break, we can give ourselves a little lift, a little hop, or we can just lean back and let it slide down. But now there's more weight since we're fully suspended in this practice. So this is our floating Buddha, and then we're going to come into windshield wipers. So we're going to push one foot down and the other foot down. So we'll keep the legs together. Yes, and just let them sway from side to side. Perfect. Now just even this pose is going to start to release all that buildup of tension that lives along the surface of the body and in the fascia, in the connective tissue. So just this pose is the therapeutic practice. Swaying from side to side. And let that feel good.
Oh yeah.
So I like to lean back into it a little bit more so your head is relaxed into your hands and then your heart is blossoming towards the sky. So that sternum lifts. Yes. Hips heavy, heart open, head relaxed. That's our mantra. Beautiful. From there we're going to come to center. We're going to open it up to come into our pigeon pose. So hug the swing, bend the right knee, grab for the leg loop with both hands. You can hold onto the foot if that feels a little bit closer. But in our floating pigeon, we're going to drop our hips and pull our toes towards our chests. Big stretch. So usually we take about 5 breaths here, just hanging out in the pose. I like the shoulders to be nice and engaged and pulling down. And then we're going to inhale open. Let's go to second side. We'll undulate a few times. Left knee bends. Pull it in towards the chest, holding on to the leg loop nice and strong. So if the leg loops are high, it's a little bit harder. If they're lower, it's easier. So we can always bring those up and down one if somebody needs. Inhale, expand. Exhale, right knee bends. So the first one we're going to do is pull the foot into the chest, holding onto the leg loop. The second pose, we're going to take our right hand and press the knee down towards the ground. So we go from squaring the hips to letting the hips kind of lift. Yes. So the right knee points down, the left hip lifts, and we're rotating. We're kind of spiraling the femur into the socket. This is an amazing stretch for the piriformis. Let's open it up and go back to the left side, bending the left knee in, holding onto the foot, holding onto the leg loop to begin. Hips are square. So square the hips to begin. Yes. See how different that is? So a lot of mobility there. So we want to drop the hips and pull the foot up, and that's the stretch. Second stretch is we keep pulling the foot up, but we press the knee down. And there's a spiral that happens. Oh, such a good stretch. So now, as the left knee comes down, the right hip bone can lift. Rotating out to the side. Let's go ahead and stay on this side. We're going to take the right hand and reach up higher, all the way onto the leg loop as high as we can. We keep pressing the knee down and getting the bottom of the foot into the inner thigh. Yes, and then pressing the hips into the side plane, and we can extend. So this is our side tree, or I sometimes call it flying ninja if you're feeling like a ninja. But really extending in all directions here. It should feel really good. I'm going to do a little bit more of advanced work with you since you're experienced. I'm going to bend the back knee. I'm going to support my head with my hand. is our supermodel pose. And then if we wanted to come into a hooked pigeon, we're going to take our right elbow and hook the foot. This is obviously not our beginner practice anymore. And then you can clasp the hands and lean back into it and open it up. Nice. Yes. Such an awesome stretch. Yeah. So be real careful with the knees. Extend both legs, unfurl. That's it. Yeah, just lean back into it a little bit more with your head for the second side. I'll direct on that one. Right knee bends. Left hand reaches around for the leg loop. Remember to wrap around, right? So we always hug the swing. So hold on to the leg loop. Push the knee down, get it into the inner thigh, bottom of the foot, and then you can extend the right arm. So just notice the long line of energy from the fingertips to the toes. That's beautiful. From there we can bend the left knee. Our hand can support our head for supermodel. And then just keep leaning back. Let the left elbow hook the toes. And then clasp the fingers if that's available too. Lean back into it though. Yes, let your head rest on your arms. That's beautiful. That's it. Does that feel amazing? Slowly unfurl your spring-loaded. So I really only teach that if we have some more advanced students that you can tell
that can come out of that.
That's right. Okay. And that the knee is safe. They're not straining or compressing the ribs, which usually is what we do when we try to hook something. So that's our pigeon sequence into side tree. So now we're going to go through, let's do our swing bada. So both knees bend now. Push the knees down. We can do these in any order, so usually just depending on the person, it's like, okay, what feels good next? Let's bend both knees. So swing bada, we're going to go into our flying monkey from here. So we always prefer, so this is the swing. These are the leg loops. Now, most people will grab the swing when I say leg loops, so I usually say reach for the knees, slide towards your ankles, and then up on the leg loops as high as possible. But even after I say that, they go like this. So we just want to make sure that they're holding onto the leg loops because these are our stabilizers. We glue our feet together, push the hips up and lean back, straight arms, big openness through the chest. Just let that feel good. Awesome. There's a few more sequences we'll go into from there, so we're going to come back and revisit it. But now we're going to open it up into our wide straddle T and come into our vinyasa flow. It's actually like a half flow, so we make it really easy. So T with the arms, wide straddle T. And then we just lean back for star. Open up the heart, lean back. Hips stay heavy. And then namaste. Squeeze the legs together, hands to prayer. Around the swing, press the hips up, lean back. Beautiful. Sink the hips down, open it up. T. Okay, so we go from T to star to namaste to reversing it. Now, if I'm in a more advanced class, I'll come into ladle, which is holding on to the swing, letting it slide down across the hips, getting it into the sweet spot, so below the kidneys, and then the hands can come up and overhead. Now, I only add in ladle here. We learn this tomorrow in our more advanced practice, but I only add ladle if they're very comfortable with the inversion, because this is a big opener for the chakra system and the endocrine system. Inhale, reach up, grab for the swing, drop the hips, let the head come up. Yes, leading with the pivot point of the hips, and then come back into our neutral pose. So good. It just immediately turns on the whole front of the spine. So yeah, so I know you're really into the chakra system, and like the endocrine system overlays the chakra system. And so I work a lot with the energy managers of the body, and the poses are designed to kind of spin, open, and align. All of those particular energy centers. Spin, open, and align. Good stuff. Okay, great. So let's see. We've gone through our wide straddle, star. Let's go back to our swing bada. So swing bada, feet together, like swing bada bada, bada konasana. Hands at the knees. So we can either press the knees open, which feels really good. If somebody is wanting more restorative, we would come into the diamond with the arms, so double diamond. Right? Diamond with the arms, diamond with the legs. Chillaxin arms. Beautiful. Reach for the leg loop. See if you can just wrap around. Reach for your ankles and slide up. Pushing the hips up, leaning back. Stay glued together. Awesome. Let's bicep curl up to sitting on our feet and try that a few times. So hips stay lifted. This is how we can also practice. It's like rock climbing where we have to press our hips forward in order to lift our upper body. If our hips sink back, then we can't lift. So this is our first little lesson on how to get into position for some of the acrobatics. And then next time we lift, we're going to open up the legs and keep holding on. And we're going to bicep curl, wide straddle splits. Nice. So bicep curl. Yeah, so lift, reach up for the nub. That place, yeah, where the webbing meets the fabric. Yeah, it's good to lift from there. And now you can bicep curl lift. That's it. Beautiful. And head and lower. Let's do 3 of those. Bicep curl lift and lower. Good. Bicep curl lift and lower. Beautiful. Go ahead and release. I call it jazz hands or superstar. Shake it out, shake it out. And then we're going to come into wow, which is kind of our last pose of the sequence. And as I mentioned before, the sequences build on themselves, so the last pose is always the most challenging. So it's like flying monkey, but with wide legs. And so I like to X the leg loop. See if you can thread your hands around perfect to grab. Usually that takes a little while. You're a quick one. Yeah, so. But I'm just like, okay, grab for the front, pull it back, then turn your hand over, reach for the back one, and pull that, and then you're X. There's the details. Okay, it looks like this. So the inverted W is just like pulling and leaning back, or you can come into the wow, which is you pull all the way so your hips are facing the sky and your straight arms open. So go ahead and try W, where you just lean back, and then try the wow, where you really pull and lift and get your head pointing down towards the ground, hips up towards the sky. So strong. That looks beautiful. Lovely. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. So supported. Amazing. Yeah. And so this will help people get comfortable with the flip, right? The flip is allowing the hips to come over the head. And so when our tailbone faces the sky and our head faces down towards the ground, we're changing and shifting planes. And we learn how to change planes tomorrow. But that's just a little taste. Cool. And then, of course, it's the same pose as doing flying monkey from here, but we don't lift our hips as high. So yeah, if you forget to X the ankles when you pull, it's going to slide up to the knees and you won't go as far. Yes. So once you do that and you're like, what was the cue again? That's why we X the ankles. You can also just push the leg loops down to the arches of the feet and do it like that, and that way they'll stay. But, you know, whichever is easier. You have to manage something there. Yeah. Okay. So since we have time, we're going to do our bonus round. And our bonus round was going into the suptavirasana from our quad stretches. Okay? So it looks like this. We're going to do one at a time. There's a few variations that we can do, but let's start with the right knee bend. And then we're going to turn it over. It looks like this. Keep holding on the whole time with your right hand and let the knee point down towards the ground. Turn it in and over, yes. And now I like to hold on to both leg loops for stability. These are our stabilizers. And if this is too much, you can always bend the front knee and have both knees bent. So just know that this is a good option. So most people won't do the quad stretch because this extension is too much. But yeah, you can always straighten the leg and work up to that, so that is an option. Okay? So if we want to come out of that, we're just going to go ahead and bend the knee, turn it over. Yeah, slide on up. This is Chillaxin. Push the left leg loop down and then turn it over. So now we're going into the modified version. Yeah. Perfect. So flex that back foot. Yeah. Cool. And then if we wanted to extend, we can always just push that down and come into the full pose that way. Okay, so suptavirasana. We're going to release the right hand back and overhead. Keep pulling in tightly with the left elbow. So that's stable. And we reach back. It's really Ardha suptavirasana. It's only one leg. Beautiful. Keep pulling the knees towards the center line to keep the alignment. And then we're going to change sides. So let's turn it over. Come on back into our quad stretch on the right side. Going a little bit faster now. And then release the left hand to reach it back. Pull in tightly with the right elbow. Yes. See how that stabilizes? Beautiful. Ardha suptavirasana. So this would not be the beginner class. This would be for the 1 or 2 people that want to know how to do those big stretches. Yeah. And then from there. we can just slide right into our Chillaxin pose. Okay, so that's why we did our half Buddha sequence, so we can go right into number 4 now. And if somebody needs a break, I usually just get them out of the swing, because underneath the arms after time, you can just feel, even for those that are experienced, it's a lot. Okay, so whenever we need a break, one of the choices is to come into a high diver position. We can hold on to our knees, and then slide up our leg loops as high as we can, and then come to stand. So this is what I call high diver.
Yeah, it does feel nice.
Yeah, so you can always hang out here in the high diver position, and we'll show you some variations next. So I'm going to quickly come out and index the video so that way we can have each section.